Hey everyone, today we're continuing on with our unit on triangles, and we're going to continue focusing on interior angles of a triangle today, but now we are going to be finding the missing measure of an interior angle algebraically, which means we're going to have to create and solve algebraic equations, just like what we did in our angles unit with complementary, supplementary, and vertical angles. So what we need to remember is that interior angles are the angles that are inside of a triangle. Most importantly, those three angles that are inside a triangle must add to equal 180 degrees. We are going to use that fact to help us create our algebraic equations today. So here I have a picture of triangle ABC. Okay, I know angle A is equal to 40 degrees, angle B is equal to 65 degrees, but angle C is equal to 1x plus 83. So I do not know what degree measure angle C is yet because it's an algebraic expression. In order to figure out what angle C is equal to, I first have to figure out what x is equal to. Okay, so I have to create an algebraic equation. Well, I know that these three angles have to add up to be 180 degrees. So I'm simply going to type in all three angles in this first row of text boxes up here. And the reason, again, why I'm adding them together is because, well, the sum of the angles inside a triangle has to equal 180. So in the box where it says first angle, I'm simply going to type in the first angle. It does not matter which angle you write in which text box. I always like, though, to write the angle that starts with the variable first, but it does not matter. So my first angle, I'm going to plug in 1x plus 83. Then my second angle, I'm going to plug in 65. And my third angle, I'm going to plug in 40. And I already wrote the equals 180 for you. Okay, so here's my algebraic equation. Now I need to solve this. So the first thing we have to do is we have to combine like terms. If I look at this 1x here, I don't have any like terms with the 1x, okay? Because remember, a like term has to have same variable. So I'm simply going to bring down or rewrite that 1x. But now my like terms are positive 83, positive 65, and positive 40. Remember, when we are combining like terms, we want to look at the sign in front of the term because that's what tells us if it's positive or negative. So I have to combine the like terms 83, 65, and 40. When I add all those numbers together, we get 188. Okay, so now my equation is 1x plus 88 equals 180. Well, now I got to solve my equation. My next step is to subtract my constant from both sides. So I'm going to be subtracting 188 from both sides of my equation. I bring down the 1x. Okay, the 188s are going to cancel each other out. And then 180 minus 188 gives us a negative 8. Don't freak out that we got a negative 8. Okay, now our last step, if I didn't write this 1 here, technically we would be done, but the 1 is there, so I simply divide both sides by the number in front of the coefficient, which in this case is 1. So 1x divided by 1 is simply x, and then negative 8 divided by 1 is negative 8. Okay, so we get x is equal to negative 8. So I now know what x is equal to, but I'm not done. I need you guys to fill in all these text boxes. You are writing down or typing in the measure of each angle, angle A, angle B, and angle C. Well, angle A, easy, I gave it to you. It's 40 degrees. So we're just going to type in 40 degrees. Okay, angle B, easy, also gave it to you. It's 65 degrees. Angle C is the one where I gave you an algebraic expression, so you now have to plug in your value of x into this angle measure expression. So instead of writing x, I'm going to now write negative 8 because that's what we just determined x is equal to. So I'm going to plug in negative 8. Okay, now I'm going to simplify. Remember, in order to simplify this, you got to follow your order of operations. So you guys first have to multiply before you add. So 1 times negative 8 is negative 8. And then negative 8 plus 83 gives us 75. Okay, so the measure of this angle is 75 degrees. Okay, we can get a negative x value here because we know we can't have a negative angle, but the x was not the value, was not the measure of the angle. So we can absolutely get a negative x value because look, it turned out to be a positive angle measure. Okay, now the awesome thing about interior angles of a triangle is you can check to see if you are correct. Because remember, you know that the measure of all interior angles has to add up to be 180 degrees. So if you added up all three of these angle measures together, it should equal 180 degrees. So you would add up 40 plus 65 plus 75. And those three numbers, when we add them together, equal 180 degrees. So we know we are correct. Okay, you guys are going to complete now the you do example on slide 5. Okay, next model example. Again, I gave you another triangle. I gave you angle A and angle B. We have to figure out the measure of angle C. In order to figure out the angle measure of C, we need to create our algebraic equation. So I'm going to type in my first angle in this first text box. And my first angle is, I'm going to type in 5x plus 5. Again, I just always start with the angle that has the variable in it. Then second and third angle really does not matter what you guys plug in. I'm going to use 80. And then 65. Nope, no, and then 60, excuse me. Okay, my next step is to combine my like terms. Well, I'm going to start with 5x. 5x does not have any like terms here, so I'm simply going to bring down the 5x. Now my like terms are positive 5, positive 80, and positive 60. So 5 plus 80 plus 60 is 145. So now my equation reads 5x plus 145 equals 180. Well, now I'm going to subtract 145 on both sides. Again, the reason I'm subtracting is because I have an addition sign in my equation. We have to use our inverse operation of addition, which is subtraction. Okay, I simply bring down this 5x. Guys, please remember to bring down this 5x. In our angles unit, a lot of you guys like switched this coefficient with like a 10x, and I'm not really sure how you got that. So just make sure you're just bringing this 5x down. You're not changing anything about that. Okay, the 45s are going to cancel, and then we have to subtract 180 minus 145, which is 35. Okay, our last step is to divide both sides of the equation by the number in front of the variable, which is the coefficient. So the coefficient here is 5, so I'm dividing both sides of my equation by 5. 5x divided by 5 is simply x, and 35 divided by 5 is 7. So we get x is equal to 7. Again, though, we did not answer the question. Our goal is to figure out the measure of angle C. So I'm going to come to my text boxes and type in all my angle measures. Well, what is the measure of angle A first? Easy peasy. I gave it to you. It's 80 degrees. Okay, what is the measure of angle B? Again, easy peasy. 60 degrees. I gave it to you. And then the measure of angle C. Here's our expression. So I now know what x is equal to, so I'm going to plug in my value of x, which is 7. And then I'm going to simplify. First, I got to multiply before I add. So 5 times 7 is 35. 35 plus 5 is 40. So the measure of angle C is 45 degrees. Again, we can check ourselves. Add up all these angle measures and see if your sum is 180. In this case, it is, so we know we are correct. Okay, you guys are going to do the next you do example. I'm going to skip this one, and I'm going to go to slide 12. Okay, so again, I gave you a triangle ABC. We have to figure out the measure of angle B. So in order to do that, I have to create my equation. So my first angle, I'm going to type in 3x minus 25. Be careful, there's a minus sign. My second angle, I'm going to type in 60. And for my third angle, I'm going to type in 70. Okay, my next step is to simply combine like terms. So I start with the 3x. 3x does not have any like terms, so I simply bring that down. I rewrite it. Now be careful. My next set of like terms are negative 25, positive 60, and positive 70. Remember to look at the sign in front of your term because that's going to tell you if it's positive or negative when we go to combine. So I have a negative 25 plus 60 plus 70, which gives me 105. Okay, so now my equation is 3x plus 105 is equal to 180. My next step is to subtract my constant on both sides. Again, I'm subtracting because subtraction is the inverse operation of addition. So I minus 105 on both sides. I bring down this 3x. The 105s cancel each other out. And 180 minus 105 is 75. Okay, and my last step is to simply divide both sides by the coefficient or the number in front of the variable, which in this case is 3. So I'm dividing both sides of my equation by 3. 3x divided by 3 is x, and 75 divided by 3 is 25. So we get x is equal to 25. Okay, now I'm going to come to these text boxes and figure out the measures of all these angles. So what is the measure of angle A? Well, simply look at your diagram. I gave you the measure of angle A, which was 70 degrees. What is the measure of angle C? Again, look at your picture. I gave it to you. It's 60 degrees. And what is the measure of angle B, which is the algebraic expression? So it's 3x minus 25. I now know what x is equal to, so I'm going to plug in 25 where I see x. All right, so now I'm going to multiply before I subtract. 3 times 25 is 75. 75 minus 25 is 50. So the measure of angle B is 50 degrees. Again, as always, add up all your angle measures and see if your sum is 180 degrees. And if it is, you know you are correct. Okay, you guys are now going to complete all the you do examples that are on, I believe, all the odd numbered slides. Okay, as always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.